What up, guys? I'm a little bit early here. We're just trying to get a couple things done here. Hello, how you doing, Jeremy J? Making sure the audio's all good and solid here. Just double checking a couple more things and seeing what's good. Hope everyone's doing well today. The market has made a really strange recovery, but we'll see how it goes. It's finishing. Come on. Let's see here. Everything is good. Good. All right. Finished a couple things. Thank you guys for everyone coming out. It's been an absolutely crazy-ish day. I went live a couple minutes earlier to kind of get everything up and running. I had a little bit of audio issues in the testing of this, so hopefully everything comes out loud and clear and everyone can hear me very well. We can go ahead and just jump into the markets. Like I just discussed, we kind of had a pretty substantial turnaround of things coming in tomorrow. I kind of shared with my Patreon folks. I did a lot of buying the last 10 minutes of the close of yesterday. Basically bought Nvidia. I bought what else did I buy? Bought Nvidia, Apple, Adobe, Amazon, CRM, that's Salesforce. We bought Qualcomm, all on the dip. It was a little scary, not going to be honest with you. I'm going to be straight with you. If that trend could have continued going down, we're seeing a little bit of a comeback today. But that was a little scary buying it on a pretty enormous dip, especially Amazon still being down today on that overall position. But some key indicators are kind of coming in here to see how we're doing. So looks like we're almost there at start time. Let's see here. Check one more thing. Let's see here. Okay. Everyone can hear me loud and loud? Okay, let's go ahead and get this away. Give it about one more minute to let some people join. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to definitely look at SPY analysis. That's going to have been really in that trading firm and the trading range for quite some time. Space, the space is nothing looking good. Oh, you retracted your message, AA. So we did look at some space stock as well to kind of see what that could entail by moving forth, or depending on how things are moving there, because that has some pretty interesting activity we kind of covered in the last live stream on Sunday. So we'll see what goes on from there. Loud and clear. Thank you, Kelly D. Was looking for that. Just wanted to make sure that we are good to go. Let me just check one more thing. I got my slide up here. Fantastic. Great. Alright, so now this should go away. You should be able to see my screen now. Should be loud and clear, looking good here. So let's go ahead and just look at SPY. So, why is this doing like this? So we've kind of been trading in this range that we talked about. We talked about this beloved box of just continue just trading sideways. within the S&P 500, or if you look at the futures and things like that. Basically, somewhere in the bottom, just call around 299 to 300 is the low of the box, and then the upward end of the box is around like 323. So we've been trading, just bouncing around here, just kind of jiggling around, just having a grand old time in this little box here, and just not really giving any sense of direction. And at the meantime, we've had the 5 and 8 kind of cross through the 21. We've kind of broke them through the 21, through the 34. Sorry, I brought my chips today. I literally had a small bag of chips just right before this, because I was like, I can't be talking on a microphone with a bunch of chips in my mouth. That'd be quite terrible. So with the 5 and 8 really crossing through the 21, a lot of the ticks breaking through the 34 and coming down to the 55. So I've added this new 55 exponential moving average to the charts to kind of give me some time frames between that and then the 50 simple, to kind of see if that kind of can even out, or see how things go from there. Kind of bouncing off that 50-day on the S&P 500 55, and kind of been rebounding since then. Still having the moving average stacked pretty nicely at the 5, 8, and 21, 34, 50, and 55, and the 200. So we're looking, again, still projecting, still looking for potential going higher. Again, going higher in the sense of trying to break the heck out of this range. So what we're looking at, if you're a bull, you want to kind of continue breaking out and getting above that 223 level. But we'll see on how that goes. And then potentially looking for, if you're a bear, you really want to start seeing things kind of come down. And it's really your week to figure out things out if you're a bear, because what's going to happen is with a lot of the banks coming out and things like that, some are, a lot of stuff's coming out about bad debts, and they're going to be coming up to fruition, and a lot of people won't be able to make those payments and things like that. So that's basically what I'm looking here in the S&P 500. As again, the trend, the 34 and 21 have been pretty tight here. Again, those parabolic SAR dots are kind of lined up with the 34. So if anything starts breaking around the 308 level and just continue going down, that 200-day and the 50-day are going to really have to kind of come in for some support for me there. Oh, water, yeet yeet, man, what's up, my friend? How you been? Are you playing earnings for today? What's on the earnings block today? I messed it up. I did a video yesterday about Netflix earnings. I had it set in my mind that I wanted to do a live stream on Tuesday, but then I replaced that in my mindset with earnings have on Tuesday. And even though after I posted it and after a couple minutes, and I was like, wait a minute, did I say Tuesday on earnings? And I said, oh snap. And of course, you had a lot of people coming out saying that I was an idiot or an imbecile, but everyone makes mistakes, right? Let's go ahead and look at, fish. What up, Ken? Thank you, my friend. Caterpillar moving. Is Caterpillar just cat? I think so. Yeah, well, that's a heck of a move. So this is a great sign. So it has some overhead resistance at the 135 level. So this is, again, that's the 8.6 percentile move. And where I'm getting that from is actually, there we go. From the previous swing high to low, that is going to be some potential overhead resistance. We kind of saw some overhead resistance here before on a gap up as well, but that kind of petered out. This has a squeeze that fired long, which is a great indicator from John Carter, that has basically fired long, and potentially these squeezes usually last 6 to 7 days or 6 or 7 bars. Normally the huge volatility and the huge move usually comes in the first 2 or 3 days, but they could last and kind of wave out for an extended period of time. Again, looking for the break and some overhead resistance at the 137 price target. If that can break through it and close above it with some strength and potentially build a base for another climb higher. Again, we're talking about Caterpillar. We're not talking like a DocuSign or a Zscaler here. This is a pretty large old-fashioned company in the sense of, lack of better words, of it not a technic company, to kind of have that momentum to break through it. And then to the downside, you see a lot of consolidation around the 126 level here. That's kind of where the 200-day is, and as well as the 618 percentile move from the Fibonacci retracements there. Dave, quick question. Do you think that BLMA could go $10 plus by Friday? That's always a hard call there, Dave. I normally don't like to make those calls, but we can look at the charts and I can tell you what the chart could look at. $10, it has earnings on the 24th, so that's not even in this week. $10, we can look at the chart here. You said $10.75 plus. So the option this week is only saying a move of 78 cents. So plus or minus where we're currently at, and we're at basically 950. So we're looking to the higher end of 10-ish to like 10.25. It has to get a. So what we're looking at, those are basically the somewhat of the one deviation move, and it really needs to kind of break above that. A better chart to show you that is that my standard deviation moves here. So you're saying at like 1070. So it literally has to move 1075 plus is basically through here, and that's higher than what the options are kind of suspecting, and it's going to be closer to almost in a somewhat of a half a deviation move in a stock that it's kind of been dormant and kind of downtrending for some time. So I would say, and with the parabolic SAR being on top of it, it really needs to have an earnings run. And again, I don't know this company at all, so I don't know any fundamental analysis to add to my technical there. BBBY calls. Is that Bed Bath & Beyond? So I think we talked about this on Sunday in the live stream. So it had what you currently see here is the Fibonacci retracements, and this is basically you take the swing high to low and then to the next high from that low, and it's really kind of getting some consolidation basically around the 50 simple moving average, aka the value, folks. And this is basically around the $8 level. Potentially could be trading sideways here for some time to kind of get things up and running and seeing where we go from there. Potential further downside is basically come down to 6. A lot of upside pressure again to around 923 due to the fact of what we can see here is basically we kind of need to build a strong base to potentially get that movement higher. And momentum is still kind of negative, and the volume oscillator is below 0, so there's nothing really to write home about to get too excited about this. So just be very careful with that one. Kai SEDG. SEDG. So this one, wow, yeah, this one is this looks like it's just kind of been holding the 21 and 34, just kind of riding up, and really had some strong support coming back down to the 50-day here. That's kind of where the parabolic SAR is. This is going to be hard to buy, basically hitting an all-time high just yesterday. Kind of again had that pullback today again with the overall market making a really rapid pivot move, honestly. Yesterday into this morning was a little gut wrenching, but this looks really strong. I would just have to be very considerate if you're in this position. You kind of need that 5 and 8 and 21 to can really propel this E1 even higher. Kahid, Apple, yes, I could do Apple. So Apple's one we bought yesterday on the dip. Glad we kind of did here. But I think we're up in it slightly. Yeah, we're up in it slightly again. Due to literally, we bought multiple stocks towards the last like 11 minutes, so I shared that. I didn't give the exact list I just showed basically bought Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, CRM, Adobe, kind of on the dip here. Looking for a potential bounce. I wanted actually to buy Apple more around like the 378 level, which would have been smarter. But again, I'm human. I make silly mistakes at times. I'm still up on the position. If it starts breaking below the 375, it starts curling down. 21's really going to come in support for the 365. We're really just wanting a nice earnings run to kind of break that $400 level. We haven't really been able to do that yet. Again, that's going to be an all-time high. So Apple is on my radar to try to break above the 1618 percentile move from the previous high to low. So it's going to be around 398. It kind of failed here once. Usually it fails once, gets kind of scared and comes back down, regains the momentum and the strength and tries again. So that's what we're looking for there. I'm on the 150 call for cat. So you must be doing well then if you're on the. Wait, what was cat at 136? Yeah, so you're the 150 is kind of way up there. If you bought the 150 call down here, you probably gained a little bit of momentum and got some price action back to that. So just gotta be careful when it gets above that 137. We could kind of see a slight sell-off because of that previous little high there, fish. So be careful with that. Oh, Outback is Outback Cabaraba's Bonefish Grill. Oh, okay. So it's a restaurant business. Okay, yeah. I don't know about Friday. I think I would rather give myself more time on those options, especially for the BL, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be coming back. Like with some places going back down into phase 1 or phase 2, what state you live in. It's going to be a potential little bit more overhead. I think over here, what happened here when I kind of bounced off the 200-day here was basically just a little too over excitement, and it needed to kind of calm down. And I think if it starts calming down and building a nice base around the $9-10 limit, I think that'd be a nice little push back up to 15. So that's the way I'm a little bit more longer term in the sense of like a month, 2, 3, 4 months out for my options instead of. I normally don't play too close to the chest kind of options like that. Water, UNH, huge day. Oh, okay, they're reporting today, or are they already there? It sounds like that's a company that would do in the morning. Okay, they have earnings today, eh? So the 7:15 after. So they're in the morning. Okay, I knew they're usually in the morning. So they're on Wednesday morning. That's interesting. Yeah, having a pretty large day today, so they must be pretty profitable again to people not requiring insurance. And I think what that comes down to is a lot of people are just staying at home, not having too many accidents. I don't know. Like it's on the full breakdown of their fundamental analysis. But looking at the charts here, we kind of see here a potential previous top here if we looked at this time frame. But we can also remove that one and bring it down to this previous high and then down to this bounce here. And we're going to be, click please. And we're kind of breaking through that 78.6 percentile move, and it didn't link. Come on now. All right. There we go. 78.6 percentile move. It's been grinding higher. It's got a nice squeeze indicating here. This would be an interesting one to play. Let me go ahead and I'll swing over my options platform, which I use is Tastyworks. So I'm just going to be trying to look for some premium here, and I'm going to bet to. So the options, the 21's around, what is that? 294-ish. I'm going to give myself some little bit of time. So 294, if I can swing those. Those are pretty wide. Let me see. Those are $10 wide, so this is pretty substantial here. Maybe I can get myself something a little bit closer. I don't want to put too much capital into this. May just do these suckers here. These are, yeah. Let's see. So what we're looking at here on the Tastyworks trading tab is basically these orange, or depending on what color you look at, orange or I don't know. They look orange to me, so they're orangish. This is what the expected move is, and then the blue teal line is basically the standard deviation, the first standard deviation, and then you have the second standard deviation from that on that particular move. This being said, if you're placing this bet, you're selling the 297.5 to buying the 295. You're risking $188 to potentially make $60 but again, I like to do these just for earnings because of the probability of profit. What we could do is just rank this down just a little bit more and get a little bit of that, or we could just do 295 to be a little bit on the safer side and kind of break this out just a little bit more, potentially to see if this can trade like that. Let me go pin over to the charts again, and I kind of just do a quick analysis of what happens from previous earnings. It looks like it's not going to move too much from the trade tab, so it's saying plus or minus $14. That's kind of a large move, honestly. We'll see. Go back to the tab here. That's interesting. 78, 190. So I had what, the 295. So it's kind of, that's where the expected move is potentially going. Maybe want to give myself a little bit extra cushion here. But now you start seeing the difference. Like, you're getting a higher ability of profit, or a probability of profit, but your max profit and your overall max loss gets kind of expanded from that. So just be very careful when you start doing that. I might have to rotate back to this one, yeet to see what goes on, or water. We'll see how that goes. Lewis, what's up, my friend? I was wondering if you could take a look at Fastly. I got a bad play, but it's for one. Let's see here. Let me move this to the side. I kind of have this on the corner of my eye, and I should need to really update this chat window for YouTube. So again, like, Fastly was one of the ones that really got taken out to the shed yesterday. And really kind of getting a bounce back today. That 21's really coming in for the ongoing support. Since the parabolic SAR has switched like 2 days ago, the downward momentum's still somewhat in place. The volume oscillator RSI really just fell off the cliff. Again, that's going to completely signal the momentum to also die down. This is going to be, again, this was a very fast, heavy moving stock. Could it easily go back to that? Yes, but I need to see. This is a good looking pattern here. If you're looking to trade this, if it starts breaking below 78.80, we could see some potential downside. But those 5 and 8 needs to kind of level off a little bit. We start seeing these kind of crisscross and start going down to the 21. That's going to be pretty substantially bad news, and kind of nixing this overall trend that's been climbing up. BZFPVN, great name. Are you able to follow those crazy trades that you highlight, or it's just impossible? So some of them I do. It's not. I don't literally, just because I'm like, oh look, I think a hedge fund's really bullish on banks. It's just a little small, like 5 to 10% of my research of like, okay, so a large institution, a large trading firm is pretty much bullish. Again, I don't know how big their book is or what they're playing, if they're just playing it for the day or something like that. It's just a small indication, like, okay, there's a lot of options activity around this strike price. And then I go back to, of course, my charts, and it really just kind of hunkers it down and anchors it to that. This is just a small Schmidt bit of information that I kind of put into my head to kind of give myself a better overall view of things. Billy, what's up, Billy? What do you think of RL? That's not Restoration Hardware, is it? What is that? Oh, Ralph Lauren. Okay. So they just do straight close, right? I'm not a big shopper, dude. So again, just like how we just looked at that Carrabba's and that food stuff, it kind of just had that overexcitement, really bounced hard off the 200-day here, and then continue going down. This one looks slightly better because we do have a nice squeeze involved. Volume oscillators trying to break out. RSI is kind of settling in place here. Nothing too right home about either of those, but they're not going lower or negative. That we need to start seeing a break above 72-ish to be not to be 100%, but we do have earnings coming up. Again, I don't follow too much retail, so I don't know on how they are doing. I can suspect that a lot of their stores aren't doing well, but if they have a good online business and things like that, I think they can do well. But again, I'm not really a clothing connoisseur of things like that. My brain tends to go more to the technology stuff. But on the chart here, the 5 and 8 looks like it's kind of leveling off here. Again, with earnings on the horizon, you've got to be very mindful of that. We can see on what they're suspecting on that. Oh, what was the earnings for that? Like August or something? Yeah, August. So they're only a monthly option, so they're saying $12. That's kind of a big move there. So $12 plus or minus here, so we're around 80-ish too. So that's kind of way up here. Potentially, that's what the market makers are thinking. For the positive side, to the downside, $12 from here would be around 68-ish. Right. Wait, no, we're at 69, so it's 70. So we're at 50. I have to go all the way down here, right around here. So it's kind of a large range. It looks like it kind of made a bottom here multiple times. So 62 is going to be kind of like my short-term bottom. I'm going to really just call it around like 67 for short-term bottom. If it's I like that the parabolic SAR has switched as well. So since those dot have switched, this is kind of be creating my potential line in the sand for the upside. But it really needs to kind of break through that 21 and kind of the 5 and 8, because you can see it's kind of stopped going down, trading sideways. So we could see this trading sideways a little bit and then potentially kick higher. Or if things go bad and the bear comes out, wants to give us a slap across the face, it can just go the opposite direction. So just be mindful and know where potential hiccups could happen. Made 4% on Apple yesterday and exited right at $3.99, and I'm really confused with the market. Can you go over Apple? We did go over Apple a little bit and VXX. So VXX is the volatility index that would go. So what I'm going to actually go through is which all of them are kind of tied to. We're going to go to the VX, which is what I use for. This is the futures. I don't trade it. This is where I gauge that off of. Again, that 200-day has been a strong resistance for the VIX here around 28. We've kind of see that bounce around territory. We do kind of have like an upward kind of trend squeeze kind of going off here. That being said, this could burst higher or lower. This is just so difficult to time because timing is everything with the VIX. Like if you're wrong, you can be really wrong and it can go completely the other way. But if you're just right and lucky, you can get a move from $18 to $90, and those call options just explode. Absolutely. I normally don't trade the VIX, but back in the day, 1 out of 10 times I would nail it, and it was a great feeling. And it basically just made up for all those other lost tradings and maybe just broke even, to be quite honest. Again, time is going to be everything on this. You get to buy the right potential month, the right expiration, and then the right call, of course. But it's the timing is just too much for me on this one, so I got to be very careful on that one. Caslito, what do you think of VALE? Oh, okay. That's the. This is not Val, the software. Steam. So it looks like there's ongoing support around the 200-day here, so around $10.50. That looks pretty nice. Earnings on the horizon around the end of the month, having a huge gap up today. Again, I'm not sure what this company does, but nearly 7.2%. Nice little gap up here. What we want to do here is, what did I have on? I used to trade this thing. What is this? Let me look 1 second. This is weird. So I did try to trade this way back when. It looks like I was looking at something. What the heck? That was weird. I kind of failed here, so it's kind of interesting. So it really just kind of failed here at the 618 and just continued going down. That's crazy. That was used to be that expensive, and really been beat down on the weekly side. On the daily side, let's go back and do a quick fib here. Previous high to low. So it's breaking past that. Of course, it did connect exactly. There we go. It's kind of looking like it just broke past the 618, which it previously had some issues for, but now it's kind of climbing higher. Great sign. We do have momentum and the volume as well going forth, but with earnings on the horizon, it's kind of a, lack of better words, a question mark for me on potentially seeing what happens. The next ongoing target will be around 1250, but that's going to be a lot of momentum, even though today we are up 7%, 7.25 now percent on the day. This could easily peter out, but just have to be very careful that potentially you can see a lot of support here around the 200 days, around 1050 on downward support. but it looks really strong. If you're in it, that's a great little ride. Potentially takes them off the table if you want to ride into earnings. I'm not sure what your trading plan was, but that's a great looking stock. WTF is going on at Microsoft? Yeah, it's just kind of had a sell-off, and that's what basically people took profits. Like, people were very afraid of a lot of those banks coming out saying the economy is going to hell and things like that, I believe. And it's people just trimming profits. Again, nothing. If you're trading it on the 21 exponential moving average, you maybe could have trimmed a little bit, but that 21 is still holding on Microsoft here, so it would have been a buying opportunity if you wanted to get into it. A small if you wanted to start a position around 202 potentially. Today actually kind of triggered that, but yeah, this trend is still somewhat intact with earnings on the horizon. I think this could easily continue trending higher again with earnings on the horizon. That could be a coin flip, so I wouldn't be buying in 100% position as of right now. Newbie, have you invested in IPO stocks? So, like, before they go IPO or when they go IPO? Newbie. I've bought, I might be dating myself, but I traded Fit. Do you guys ever trade Fitbit? I traded this thing when it IPO'd. It went up to like $50. I bought it in at like 20, 25. Oh no, so it started 30, 35 was, and then it just skyrocketed higher. And then literally 3 months after it skyrocketed, it just went completely and just never came back. Never came back. And one of the larger investors that were invested in this was Mark Benioff, the CRM guy. Like, he's like, oh, this is the future, da da da, which I honestly believe too. But it was like, as soon as it starts crashing, like I was like, see you later. Another one that I did was invested in was GoPro, and GoPro literally did the same exact thing. Went off. This is one that I got in at a fairly good price as well. Took off, went up like this was like the holiday season. Again, this is on a monthly chart, just to be FYI. We had a huge run up here into like September, October, November, getting really volatile here. And then after like the holiday Christmas season, it just never came back. You can kind of see it, so I'm pretty sure this is going to be near the 50% retracement here. So we can go from like, that's what we call in the business a dead cat bounce. Yeah, so this is basically somewhat near the 50% retracement, and then it kind of gave it a kiss, and it was never to be seen again. And now trading at $4.75. So, yeah, I've invested in IPOs, and I did own Peloton for a little bit. I got out of that too early. What else have we owned that are some early IPOs? I can't think of anywhere on the top of my head. Yeah, we can look at Tesla. Let's go Tesla. Go back to the daily side. So Tesla. What WTF is going on over there? Like, the trend is still somewhat intact. Like, even though the stock literally hit nearly $1,800 per share, gapping up multiple days and just really running, this momentum's still intact. And I don't know if you guys use this. I use it's not the greatest tool, but it's called RobinhoodTrack.net. And if this thing can load, if it doesn't load here, come on. There it goes. Okay. So this basically tracks some potential leaders, the popularity of changes of holdings, because you know how Robinhood has that ranking system and shows on how many shares are going and so forth. So we can kind of, this takes usually forever to load. It's a little slow, but it kind of gives you an informed decision of where money could be heading and things like that. So on their homepage, if it loads today, again, it's super slow. But I'm going to have this on the sideline and see if this loads here in a second. But basically it kind of tracks on how many people are in it and going out of it, and vice versa. Up there it loaded. Okay. So you kind of see here, you see traders are buying the dip at Starbucks, traders are taking profits on AMD, and traders are going full FOMO on IQ. And that kind of gives you a graph of what's looking at. So if you look at here for like AMD, you see here that this is what the users are holding, and then you see the price that was going down. So it was kind of strange that the holdings are going up, but the price was going down. And this one is that when the price was super low, you saw the huge influx of buyers coming in. Again, this is a super slow site. Yeah, here it goes. So here's the pinkish line is the price. So the price was kind of going down, but then more on the dip it was going down. More Robinhood folks were coming in and buying it. So what they're gauging at, there was over 120 plus people buying it or holdings on Robinhood, and then this really increased over the next really short term there. So it's not the most perfect thing, but it's something that I like to look at from time to time to kind of give me a better understanding here on what's going on in the market. So with Tesla, it's again holding that 5 and 8 exponential moving average and wanting to continue to climb higher. We have earnings on the horizon. We are definitely going to have a party on the 24th, I think it is. The 22nd. Usually 20, I can't never, what is this saying? Why is this not highlighting? Okay, there it goes. The 22nd, we're having a party that day. We're going to do a nice, awesome live stream, and we're just going to have a grand old time to see on how that opens up and performs moving forth. Again, long-term investor in Tesla. If it comes back down to the 21, it has to come back down to the 50-day to really add to my position. But this thing has just been a monster and looking for a lot of overhead potentially coming up. But this thing is just a really crazy stock, so it's going to be very difficult to kind of gauge and see on how this moves forth. So on the weekly side, again, the last 3 earnings have been really positive and making a profit. So this is the one, if you've been in Tesla for a while, that one in October was completely gangbusters, where it literally was the start of this overall trend here. And just the amount of volume came in that day, and the continued run up into 2020. Then you had the virus and pandemic kick in, kind of took it down with the overall market, had a bounce, and then now it's been on another new tear, having another really fantastic quarter here. I could see some volatility come up for the quarter. We could see what happens, because again, whatever Elon Musk says, or the board, or the on board, or the executive team, or whoever else, an analyst can spin it in every direction, and we could see some volatility, potentially buying opportunities 2 or 3 days after earnings and seeing how that goes. But that being said, earnings is a coin flip, as we always know, but that 5 and 8 exponential moving average are still intact for continued momentum and grinding higher for Tesla. What do you think about Netflix? Yeah, we can look at Netflix. So Netflix has earning on Thursday, not today. So it literally came down to the parabolic SAR, which is aka the purple dot here on Netflix, really selling off quite heavy. Basically, I think this is like 70, quite a bit. Like, we made the joke of like, oh, there's no way it's going to come to 21 before earnings, but it actually did, like nearly to the 21, missing it by literally $8 to the bottom. Again, that was yesterday when it was like at 575, and you're like, oh, this has just moved a little bit too much. You just had that gut feeling of like, this seems really strange that something like this has moved up. We give the definition of like the 446 all the way to 575 in less than a month, or sorry, less than 2 weeks. It was just a little bit too out of the ordinary for a large company like this, without a doubt. And then it kind of got realized and kind of came back to earth. And now kind of potentially just going to be trading sideways to see how earnings kind of comes out. This thing could be completely random. Talking about earnings on Netflix, it's literally a coin flip, because the management team can say something and then just the overall analysts just cut it and just spin it in different ways, and it's just never a really fun experience to kind of hold options in for Netflix into earnings, or even longer term options, because of earnings is really just put a damper on anything. Stains, we already did BBBY. We kind of said that it needed to kind of hold a certain level, so I'll do it once more for you. So we kind of we're talking about the 23.6 percentile move, holding around the 8 potentially, and trying to break above that 950, 925 level to kind of test that $10 level potentially around that 200-day there. But looks like it wants to continue trading sideways because the volume oscillator and RSI are nothing to really write home about. Sebastian, what's Gucci, bro? What's up, man? Can you look at Workhorse and MGM? Hope you're having a great day. I am having a fantastic day. Thank you, and same to you. I didn't see Home Depot, by the way. I just got triggered by something. 5. Aha! So I had a short on 5 low, and it just broke. So I literally just sold a bunch of calls around the 105 or 104 price. I think it was 105. That up here, and it's kind of coming in now to potentially take some profits here. We'll see here. Okay, sorry. Sebastian, let's go back. Sebastian, let's do Workhorse. So again, with work, this is literally just kind of building a base and potentially trying to get another run up. Again, I think a lot of these EV and new alternative transportation is really going to be on the coattails of Tesla, and seeing how Tesla reports, and this is definitely going to drive the wake of how these other ones will perform. I'm not going to throw Nikola in there because Nikola is kind of a question mark for me. I just need more information on that one. I don't know too much about this one as well, but this one seems like they have relative product that kind of transforms the truck and things like that, and allows the work vehicles to operate. With this one, it's still kind of trading between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average, kind of trading sideways here. If these start moving averages start curling down, since the parabolic SR is now on top of the stock, we really need to see this consolidate here some more and get that momentum to kick higher. We have the momentum coming down lightly, and you can see the volume has really dried up the last couple days, so it's not really the greatest sign as well. That could just be a sign of trading sideways and kind of waiting for these moving averages to kind of catch up with the stock price to kind of give it more of an uplift going forth. So that's basically my analysis on workday. It's definitely very much a FOMO stock still, so just be very careful on that. And then MGM, how did that one do? I did a call on that one the other day. Yeah, this one looks like just wants to trade sideways. We kind of did a call on potentially having that 5 and 8 trade sideways and try to break above that 1706 level to potentially higher prices. But to the downside, we had the $13 level. If it actually starts breaking below 1530, we could be seeing some lower prices intact. With earnings, which is still a question mark for some reason, I'm saying a question mark on 23rd, but it's still a question mark in play, so it's going to be somewhat difficult to see what happens there. With earnings on the horizon, I don't know. Again, I don't know too much about the casino business, but on the stock, if it starts breaking below 1535 and closing below that, and all these moving averages going pointing to the ground again, that one I would need to be very careful and potentially downsize as well. Because we actually traded this one, we actually bought like 1,000 some odd shares, maybe 500 around like the $7-8, and it just rode that up. It was just a gut instinct buy. But I was very lucky that it worked out very well, very fast actually too. But the thing is good is the parabolic SR has switched, so that is basically entailing and telling you, Sebastian, that there is a potential short-term trend in place, which is around 1528. And then HD, you said? Home Depot, yikes. So Home Depot and Lowe's, again, I think they're going to be pretty much some sleepers here because everyone's just spending time at their house and they're going to be doing new paint, upgrading some, fixing some drywall if they had holes in it. They're going to be doing gardening. They're going to be doing all the different various kind of things at home. And I think they're going to have a huge benefit when they have their next earnings report. So this is a very interesting hold here. It's really been consolidating for the last month or so. Really heavy consolidation here. Looking for a potential pop here. I kind of really like this here. Let me take a looky-loo at what's going on with the options on this one. So UNH is kind of coming off a little bit. Let me see what I had on my calls. Let's see here. We're going to be a little bit more careful with that one. Let's do we're going to do that. Let's see if I can get filled on that. And then we're going to do HD. So let's see. HD, it looks like it has saying that I have earnings on the 18th of August I'm sorry, let me bring over my Tastyworks. So let's see, that 21's around the 250. That's going to be fairly reasonably priced here. That's interesting. Potentially, does it have a squeeze in place? It does. So this could be, we might want to play, I don't know. I don't like to do straight calls, but this looks pretty intriguing. So 260. We're kind of at that here because these are pretty wide here. These are $5 wide the strike prices, and the spreads are okay between, nothing too crazy, but there is a lot of open volume, so you have that liquidity in there. We might just buy some. I don't like that. I need a higher. Let's see here. 65 we're betting on. There's not that much activity there. What is this right here? Potentially, I don't like that it only has the probability of profit. So when you're buying, I'm giving myself time, so I have 38 days out. If I do, I'm going to let this one sit as well and see how that kind of ponders in the back of my head. Looks like I haven't got filled on UNH. Potentially. Let me try that. Alright. So, interesting. Thank you, Sebastian. There's some great picks there. Ronik. Yeah, we haven't done Google. We'll do Google. So Google, again, with the overall other text sections, has just been kind of slapped across the face in the sense of having that downturn in the close of yesterday into like today, and kind of bouncing off its short-term moving averages of the 8. Some are bouncing off the 21, like Microsoft was kind of bouncing off the 21. Google is kind of a laggard a lot of the times to the overall section. But with the 5 and 8 kind of considering here. Thanks, Ken. Love. Catch you later. All right, Fish. Take it easy, my friend. I'll see you soon. Good luck on Cat. So with the 5 and 8 kind of been the overall movement here. Again, earnings is going to be earnings season for a lot of these stocks, so there's going to be a little bit more mindful of where those earnings are going to be coming out, because you don't really want to start a major position within 2 or 3 days into or the day before earnings or things like that, because you just want to maybe nibble on things, and it's going to be very difficult to nibble on something that costs $1,500. So would like to see on what earnings kind of projects out. Looking here, if things go well, the next overhead resistance is going to be at 1671, but to the downside right now it's going to be the 21, and then really a lot of strong support around the 1443 level for Google to the downside. but we kind of need to kind of break and close above that 1530 level. Again, it looks like we're just kind of potentially taking a break here. The volume oscillator and RSI need to start kicking up again, with the momentum needs to kick in as well to kind of drive this higher. Potentially just kind of taking a break here, kind of letting those moving averages kind of potentially catch up, and then we can get another rip higher there. Samuel been maining me money as Q. Never heard of it. QU BT. Quantum computing, eh? That's the future, right? But it's kind of been a hit and miss, honestly. I wouldn't consider this a penny stock, but I would kind of have to because of its movement. Very sporadic. Some days having next to no volume. I normally have to have some kind of average volume in place to even considering it. This one is, I can see that you're kind of making money on this if you bought it at $2 and now you're up at near $3. There is a lot of overhead resistance at the 200-day, which is basically at the $3 price target. But there is a squeeze in place, but we need the volume oscillator with the RSI to kind of kick up, to kind of break through potentially that 200 there. Again, I'm not seeing any earnings on the horizon or actually any earnings at all. So this basically means that this is probably it's definitely a pink sheet, so I don't really want to touch this, but yeah, that's just my thought on that, my friend Samuel. He's got it. Thank you for joining, my friend. Hey, somebody did a $800 million SPY order calls yesterday. I screenshotted it October 325. Can you please take a look? 60K contracts were bought on a single order. Wow. Let's go look there. What delta? You said the 325s? Okay. In October, was it just, you said October, was it, I guess it has to be the monthlies. October's, scroll. So 325, yeah, I do see the, okay, there's a lot of options, open options. So, that's interesting. They definitely bought them, because if they sold them, actually, no, they bought them, so we'll see if they sold it. If this open interest stays for the next couple days, they clearly, unless they're just straight, are you sure? Because I'm not seeing, they're 75, that's a lot. That's a lot, man. That's a good observation there. We're seeing a lot of volume coming in, actually higher at 332 on the SPY, but those could just be selling, collecting premium for the short time. Yeah, I wish I would have the ability to see everything more. Yeah, that's a good interesting there. That's gonna be hard to trade off because I'm not seeing anything else with that amount of open interest there. You can chart it, right click it and click send and see if time they bought it. What? Oh, you're talking about you can see it when the volume bought in. Okay, I see what you mean with the volume coming in here. And then you can do the time and sales from there. I just have to bring it down to like a minute chart, I'm guessing. Oh, need a little, oops, let's do a 5 minutes so I can see a number of days. So they looks like they bought it at 1 o'clock. Okay. That's definitely, A lot of volume there, and of course they bought it at like $13 ish, probably, potentially, yeah, $13ish dollars, and now it's trading, went up to 14 and came really crashing down, and potentially now it's trading out at 11. Interesting. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Thank you. Man, that's a yikes. That's a heck of a ripper. Let's go. Let me look on. Why am I not getting filled on UNH here? Now it's just driving down the price because it's ripping higher. Let's see. I'm going to cancel that. Unless I can get that $65. 5 is still going down. Tesla's up just $2, just slightly. Still having the dream here for Tesla. Oh, we did actually buy Beyond Meat too on the dip. That's another one we bought. Adobe and Amazon are still having, they're not rebounding like I like to. What is Adobe? Oh shit, I have it right here, don't I? I should know that. Oh, there it is. So this thing really came crashing through for Adobe here. Really cutting through the 21 and really just bouncing off the 34. As you see, we kind of did this projection of the 21, which, guess what? It really kind of is still intact with that 34. That's that little magical line if Brian's in chat today. We're going to keep it red. Again, we bought this actually the close of yesterday. Those were some options we did, but now we actually bought some stock around this 34 actually, and now it's been a nice little pump higher here. But again, this thing was 470 yesterday. It got down to 417. That's basically, it was on sale for me, so I had to buy it, and I had to have a rule in place for that. I had the alerts and everything, but I was a little bit too early. I should have waited actually into today to be able to purchase those. I was a little bit too. Normally what I do is I normally jump in a little bit too early and feel a little bit too much pain before I start seeing the rewards. I need to work on that. Sebastian, Target, is that TGT? So this one I actually kind of like because you're talking about Walmart. I think Walmart and Target are really going to do very well. Not seeing any earnings on here though. So with Walmart, I don't know if you guys remember, had that huge run and now just taking it out. Looking for, again, that 78 percentile move has been around that 130 price range. It really broke through that. Kind of consolidating here. Really need to push higher above that 132 to see what happens. But we can kind of do Target here. Let's see how that puppy goes. Let me drag over Tastyworks, TGT, there. All right, so not too many options for that moving forth. Looking at, again, I kind of made this box for Target here, really showing that it's highlighting in this trading range here. Really holding that 55 exponential moving average quite well. Again, that $115 level has really been pretty strong to the downside. That parabolic still kind of pushing it down, but we do have a squeeze in place. It looks like it wants to kind of fire short, but there's a lot of momentum being built up here, so potentially kind of break above that 121 level would be great, and potentially getting above 125 to really propel this much higher. So we might be risking to potentially to get above 125-ish, but risking to the downside to maybe, let's keep it on a short leash, around like 115 to 116 to the downside. So let's go ahead and just look on that via the Tastyworks. So it looks like it's earnings on the 19th. $5 wine options here in August. 60. So we wanted to keep it around 115, 113. Looking at some potentially just selling some premium. The squeeze is kind of scaring me just a little bit. I need this parabolic SAR to kind of switch, but we need that movement to kind of come in first. I don't know here. I might have to be conservative and just sell some puts. Or we could do like a butterfly. I wonder how much this costs. This costs less than $1. Yeah, we're going to probably do a butterfly. So butterfly into earnings. So we're betting on, if you haven't traded a butterfly before, we're doing $5 wings. So we're looking for selling 2 of the 125s and then buying the 120 and then the 130, giving ourselves a net of about $10. That's basically what the upside potential move could be, and hoping it trades within that range in the next couple days. Oh, and I was filled instantly. Wow. That actually is not a great sign. We'll see on how that plays out. So that was a quick little trade on Target, thanks to Sebastian. Samuel, Amazon is thinking about buying Target. Really? Where did you see that from? That'd be fantastic, right? Just like how everyone thought that they were going to buy AMC movie theaters, but they were actually talking about AMC movie channels, not the TV network, not the AMC movie theaters, and that just brought the other stock just completely high. He's got it. LOGI. Is that Logitech? That is one. That is actually one on my list that I wanted. Yeah, that's a great looking stock, dude. Holy moly. I'm surprised. Why did my alert not go off? I know I had an alert out here. Maybe it just was triggered already. This is a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one there, Sally. You're going to make me buy all this stuff, aren't you? You sons of a guns. I don't know if I can do it all. Let's see here. Let's see what options are looking for Logi. Okay, Logitech. So let me just swing over Tastyworks again. Yeah, that's what I just kind of suspected. Not many two options available for this stock. Basically just having monthlies here. I kind of want to be a little bit... looks like it has earnings. What day is that? The 20th? So next Monday? Interesting. Hard to borrow, which is interesting. So hard to short this sucker. That's if you're buying the stock. There's not that much volume. Like, this is the scary thing. Like, look how wide these options are. Ooh, I don't know. I'm going to have to pass on that one. There's nothing too... It's performing very well. If I want to be a plain Jane or a boring Ken, I got the 80 call for August 21. 80 call for... So you're kind of out of the standard deviation mode. Yes, if it moves a lot, you can really get a lot. If I'm just buying straight calls, I would need to buy somewhere in a higher delta for me, for my rules to be able to apply. So that's why I always kind of look just to sell premium on the put side. But like, look how wide this is. If I want, there's not much options activity. What is going all the way out in December? Is there more? Oh wow, they don't even have. Okay, let me scroll this up. Full screen. There we go. Looks like a lot around 70. I kind of like that more. And how's that only $5? I'm gonna actually take this one if I can get filled. So I want to take that bet. It's a long ways out. I think I just bought the December. The December, I might have to slightly manipulate that one to kind of get filled in that one. I'd rather just play the longer term trend and kind of let things slowly work its way out, and rather than just kind of potentially playing the short term. And I need to, further out I can go, the further out of the money I can buy. SPX spread expiring tomorrow. Okay. Are you well? SPX is a cash settled ETF, so if you're down or up in it, I had a near heart attack when I was first trading options. I sold some puts and I bought some puts. Oh, Logitech was just filled. Thank you very much there, market gods. Getting the confirmation on my phone. Yep, thank you. Confirm. Thank you. All right. So I've bought actually a lot with you guys today. Like, you guys are got some good stuff coming my way. UNH I'm still not filled in. So what did we bought today so far? We bought some Target. We bought a Target butterfly. We bought some really far out Logitech thing. We can still are short the 5 or 5 below. Interesting. Yeah, this one is gonna. So we're buying the 70 call, so I need to start putting some parameters around this one. Really make sure I watch this. I think that this is still somewhat intact. Again, buying it slightly on a limb for that really far out. Does that make sense to you? He's got it. That's the reason. I totally understand why you bought the $80 call. It's fairly cheap, but for me, what I do, my rules and principles, I have to kind of give myself a lot more time with options calls, because when that theta really kicks in within like 30 to 45 days, and especially under 14 days, that call can really start bleeding to the downside if things don't move. Let's see what else is going on here. I was actually working on a scan for the Patreon folks, and I could not get it to work. I had it working for like a couple seconds or a couple tries, but then it kind of just like crashed on me. I was really being mindful of this with trying to figure this out and trying to get that to the Patreon folks. But I need to add some more parameters around it and start back testing, because I have to put some more parameters in here. I'm not letting these stupid really low 0.25 cents and 30 cent stock options. So I guess I can just go from high to low here and kind of see what's coming up here. See if anything's really popping that I know. Signature Bank, a lot of banks and energy here. Wynn Resort, that's kind of down 3% today. Icon Enterprise, I didn't know he had his own thing there. Yeah, none of these are really popping that I know on top of my head. The one stock that I have been looking at too is Visa. Visa has been very interesting, and I saw something a bit about it today as well. Oh, you're doing an earnings run-up? Okay, cool. Okay, I just didn't want to offend you anyway, and he's got it. So I didn't want you to. I don't want anyone to feel offended in the sense of that. I'm just trying to be here to give you what I would do and what's my opinion. Not saying what you're doing is wrong. That's your style, and just we're here to kind of just share our thoughts and ideas, and just share really our love and passion for the overall markets. So I'm glad that's great. I'm happy. For Visa. Visa is kind of one that kind of came up from the Discord as well. Who was it from the Discord who said that? Oh, I just got pinged on something. ITW above. What's that? So this is someone who put in this. So again, I guess I was showing right that. Who was ITW? Was that you, Ryan? I think it was Ryan who suggested this one, and it kind of starting to break out here on a squeeze. So I didn't take a position, just kind of wanted to watch it and to see how it's going. Someone just posted me shame. Yep, I'm live now in YouTube live stream. Let's do that. I'm gonna copy. There. Let's see if he enters the chat. So where was I at? I was looking at Visa. So Visa in a lot of the payment industries is pretty poised to do very well again due to the pandemic and the overall virus of things. It has been performing well, but now it's kind of just been trading sideways ever since its bottom at like 133, kind of made somewhat a slappy V, and now just kind of trading sideways. Again, a lot of these stocks have been in these really tight trading range. Again, potentially waiting for a potential breakout or breakdown to see what happens. With this, we can kind of see here it's been a squeeze ever since it's been in this box. The moving averages have been really tossed around here. The 50 and 55 have been really kind of the ongoing support here to the downside. It's above the 200, which is a great sign. The only thing is the earnings on the horizon. RSI is trying to peak up. Volume oscillator is pretty positive. With this one, I like this, but I need to start seeing some more upward momentum. It is up nearly 2% today on a fairly large amount, but with the 5 and 8 kind of still being 21, we need that kind of start curling up and breaking through the 21 to kind of see those higher prices initially, to see on how that performs. With the parabolic SAR still being on the top of it, it could be still some potentially further downward pressure here. With the squeeze in place, kind of looking kind of potentially a little lopsided and nothing to really write home about. This is where I sometimes get myself in trouble, where I'm just buying in a little bit too early, kind of being a little bit more patient. I'm usually just the first one to just kind of jump in there and get out there. You got earnings calls for that too. Okay, let's see here what you're looking at there. You're saying the 212, and they have earnings the 28th. So 212 is like right up here. And what is the earnings move? What was the earnings on the 28th, right? 28th. So momentum right here is plus or minus 12. Let's just call it 13 if you're being conservative. So $13 from where we're currently at. Again, it can move drastically either which or other ways, but around let's just call it 293. So $13 would be putting it in around like the what would that be? Wait. 292, so 205-ish. So up here, that's what the market's expecting for that earnings horizon. You're kind of giving it to the 31st. Could be a little bit more time on there. You're still, again, that earning run-up, as you're saying, the way you wrote it is like you're got calls for earnings. I wonder if you're doing it for earnings run-up to kind of see this can kind of grind higher, because depending on what calls those are, those can really get some really nice deltas going. So you said the 212.5. The open interest is 415 options today. What is the delta on that? It's probably like I'm going to guess around like a 25 or 30 delta. Let's see here. Yeah. Oh, it's even lower. It's a 10, 11 delta. So it's basically this is kind of a rough way to kind of calculate the probability of profit, or the probability of it being in the money is about 11% as of right now. But this can really change really fast if this starts to continue going higher. But yeah, that's definitely, it's a good play. Hopefully it's smaller size. Again, the options are pretty tightly wound together, and there is a fairly good open interest there as well in that weekly chain there. Kind of wanted to see what else is going on here on the charts here. AMD still being AMD and just trading sideways here. I just can't get any luck with this, guys. It's just not performing very well at all. Just been very lackluster, and I'm lucky I was able to get in some NVIDIA yesterday, so hopefully Ryan's on here as he doesn't kind of criticize me too much that I kind of, I'm still in AMD, but I got in quite a bit, a little bit, not quite a bit, 25% of where I normally like to get into with NVIDIA. And with NVIDIA being up $12-ish nearly today, has been a nice little move without a doubt. Here, kind of just potentially, I bought the dip here towards the end of the day around 401, and now been nearly touched the 21 yet just today, and now just been kind of curling higher and just continue with that overall momentum still intact, looking for some stronger further upsides. Again, looking for 440 potentially. Since the parabolic SR has kind of switched again, we kind of need to potentially start grinding higher a little bit here to kind of get that momentum to take that little purple dot out and then continue to climb higher from that, if that makes sense to everyone. Samuel, space. Yeah, we can do a look at space. So space, I think I still have my long-term options on that. If not, yeah, this is one that's kind of been really trying to evolve and really take new forms of revenue. Again, I think they're partnering with NASA, and that's confirmed on trying to build a ongoing system for training of astronauts. Then, of course, they're all main going plan of sending us average Joes into space to go around orbit and to see that beautiful Earth from above, which I don't know if I could do that. If it was really safe and it was like I'm like the 100,000 person in line, yes, but I can't do that right now. But the squeeze has fired. We are seeing, I wouldn't say, again, with that overall sell-off into yesterday and then today, it's looking like, again, that 21 really came into support, and that we're still in this overall trend between that 5 and 8, and again, trying to continue to trade higher. K Thunder, Netflix. Yes. So just to make sure, K Thunder, I said this on top of the hour. Netflix is having earnings on Thursday, and we're going to be having another live stream on Thursday to highlight that, even though I misspoke my video. You're saying 400 or 600? We talked about Netflix just a little bit. So Netflix has been a complete a random way of how it trades, and especially with earnings. Reed Hastings, the CEO, could say certain things, but then you got the analyst and then the other communities of journalism just kind of spins it the other direction, and it could just really go the opposite direction. So Netflix, I don't like to hold into earnings. We'll just have to see what happens. You could get a pretty large upside. Again, I'm trying to think on top of my head on what is a key show right now on Netflix, and nothing really comes to my head. Like, I think people are still just watching reruns of Office. Like, that's all I ever hear about. But this trend is still somewhat intact. It didn't break down through the 21. It didn't ever close below the 8. So this is still, again, I can just see this trading sideways into Thursday's earnings, but with earnings on the horizon, they're saying plus or minus $53 potentially into Friday. So $53 basically where we're at today. We're at $5.15. We basically can go, what did I say, $50? So it'll be around like $5.70, basically where the high was just yesterday. And then what is it, $50 to the downside, so around $4.80, which is basically kind of where potentially the 21 kind of comes into. So if it hits 480 and it consolidates there for a couple of days, I would like to potentially start a position in it. If you want to start in a position in it now, you have to be super slim on it and just don't put in all your eggs in one basket, because if it goes higher, yeah, you may profit, that's great. But if it goes lower, you're losing that whole overall investment you put in, and you could potentially cost basis down if it's a longer term investment. He's got it. You want to do Intel? Yeah, that's an interesting one as well. Oh, of course my keyboard doesn't work. Intel's kind of like in the same range of AMD. There's just really strong support here on the 200-day. You can see this throughout. That's where we kind of have my alert to buy it. At 56.30, I can kind of ramp this up just a little bit, maybe to like 57 exactly. We can just do that. Around 57 exactly, due to the parabolic short-term SAR kind of there for a potential move. Again, earnings on the horizon. We have a squeeze. Volume and RSI is just kind of flat, not indicating a particular direction. We are above the 200, but the 5 and 8 haven't broke through the 21 multiple times. Once we have come up to the 21, we have seen some resistance. So that is also a sign to be worrisome and be careful of what we could be going forth here. Again, you see that overall kind of overhead ceiling around 60. This is again the same sense of all the other stocks that we've looked at. A lot of them have just been trading in this range most of the time, just waiting on what's going to happen for earnings. And then you get that potential breakout or breakdown. And I think Intel's really much into that one. So like, if you want to get into it, if it starts breaking above 60, that could be a great substantial move. But again, being mindful of earnings on the horizon, so just be very careful on that one. And then, oh, don't apologize, Thunder. I know you just came in. I just wanted to clarify that we did cover it again. So if people wanted to tune out for the next 2 minutes, they could. He's got it. Let's do Team. Yeah, Team was actually one I looked at the close yesterday, but it just got it got a little bit. It sold more than I liked, and actually yesterday broke through the 21 already. So I thought that was a little bit too scary for me. And then today it really kind of came in, really selling off even harder, and really wanted to buy it at the 166 level. Actually never got down to that point. And then now it's potentially even well below this. Is interesting. So it's around its 55 exponential moving average as of right now. It has tapped this before, and it has recovered, but I think there's a little bit too much damage done right here, and I think it kind of needs to kind of recover a little bit, trade in between the 175 to 180, potentially even to 182, to kind of consolidate a little bit. We still have earnings coming out. It's still a question mark, which is strange. It still should be happening in the next 2 weeks or so. So I think this could easily be a pretty large mover, but it just needs to kind of consolidate, and it just has dropped a little bit too much for me to kind of jump in front of it. It needs to prove itself and kind of get back on track, if that makes sense. Hey guys, what's up? WRTC. That's a great looking stock there, my friend. Hopefully you've been in it for a while. Showing a lot of support here on the 21 on the ride up here. Again, the support around $10.50. It's been holding that fairly well. It's kind of bounced off of that, or the 34. It is a little bit extended in the sense of the parabolic SAR has switched, which indicates that this kind of has to build a base and potentially get a lot more momentum to kick higher. But we do see the volume zone oscillator and RSI kicking in. If on the TTM squeeze side, if we can get some more the light blue lines for the momentum to kind of kick back in, this could be a nice indication to continue to go higher. Let's go ahead and let's actually look at a 4-hour chart. Is this a newer stock? I've not seen this one before. Yeah, it looks like it's a newer stock. Okay. So the 4-hour chart usually kind of helps me kind of see on what happens. It looks like it kind of looks like it wants to turn around here there, my friend. I have the 825 $15 calls. Thank you. Yeah, so you have a lot of time on those. You're close or at near the in the money sign, which is great. If you're going to be a little more speculative on it, we really want to see that 5 and 8 on the 4-hour chart to kind of cross through the 21. We do have the parabolic SAR switched today already at 1 o'clock, with the parabolic SAR going from the top to the bottom, which is a great sign for a momentum or trend change. And on the 4-hour chart, since you're doing it on August 21st, the 4-hour chart could be okay, but you really want to tie some of your stuff to the daily side. But yeah, this one looks really interesting. I'm not sure what this company does. What does this company do, my friend? Because it looks really nice. It looks like a really good pattern though. And UNH has literally just taken off from us, being up quite substantial price here, and not going to be able to get into where we want to potentially sell some premium here. Really just taken off well over 300, 310 now. Yeah, UNH has just taken off. Nice little push here. Oh, safe law enforcement tool. Oh, okay. So yeah, so actually we did trade Axon, which is the taser slash oh, that's cool. I want to see that in action. I need to check that out. It's cool. So Axon was one we kind of traded. We got out of it luckily because we didn't know. I didn't know this is going to continue to be up at such high volume, especially with the taser and the body cam stuff. Really, during the protest, really just took off, and we were a little bit again too early on it, selling the 100 calls on it. Kind of a couple days, really feeling some pain, but then once it hit the 21, we actually got out of a very small profit. So yeah, I'll definitely check that one out. That looks like a really cool one. Oh, it's his brother. Ha! Okay, that's interesting. What do you think I should cut my Microsoft call spreads expiring 7/24? Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what to do, my friend, but I'm not sure what price you paid for them. But 24 seems quite a far ways away. They do have earnings on the 22nd, but again, they can blow things out of the water, without a doubt. You said the 24th, and they're saying plus or minus $14. So $14 where we're at right now, you still can kind of somewhat get potentially into your calls, but it's going to be, you're very much on the cusp, on the rim of it, on potentially being in the money. You're basically just betting on Microsoft blowing out the quarter, which again, I think it could happen, but you know, with earnings, and we talk about earnings quite a bit on the sense of it just be literally a coin flip, and seeing how it overall can just trade from that, and just people putting a certain spin on it and things like that. Just have to be very careful. Thank you for sharing that stock with me. I think I'm gonna write that one down. Actually, add it to my little list here on potential longs. I'm always into like some of this new technology stuff and not hurting people, right? Yeah, but again, you have to remember, Surjit, that we had that huge drop into yesterday, and then today even some more, but we're really seeing a nice rebound off the 21, and this rebound has happened quite a bit here, multiple times for Microsoft here. That 21 has really kind of come in for some ongoing support. So for me, I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's your money. But I follow the 21 and 34 on the daily side quite well. But we'll see how that goes. C1 Tansu, what's up, my friend? Thank you for joining, my friend. Guys, hopefully, let's see, that's what UNH does. I never got filled on that one, so boo-hoo. So we actually did quite a bit today. So we got filled on Logitech, Logi. We did really far out. We did December 18th, $70 call, way out there. We didn't get filled on UNH. We did a Target Butterfly. So for Target, I need to update the charts here real fast. For Target, we bought the August 21st, 125, sold the 125s 2 times, and then bought the 120 and the 130. So 125 is basically up here where I need to put an alert out at or above, and the 120. So this can, I really just want Target to continue to kind of potentially grind higher into the 125 limit for the next like couple weeks, 2 weeks really, 2 or 3. What is August? It's like it's actually further out than I thought. About 38 days. So we're kind of given a pretty wide spread. So what we can do here is we said the 130. So we're basically gonna be doing like this kind of pattern. And I kind of think I could change the colors on that. So I'm gonna call it a butterfly. So that's gonna be a nice pretty color. So we're potentially looking for Target with the next month or so kind of trading in this range. So a slow grind higher and then kind of trading in this range to see what happens there. Kelly D, thanks for everyone coming in. Guys, thank you again for everyone coming out and joining the awesome live stream. I really enjoyed doing these during the live market hours and things like that. We'll definitely do some more. We have that Netflix one coming out on Thursday. If you want to bring your favorite beverage, that could be your water, coffee, tea, whatever you want to drink at 2:30. And then I'm gonna have popcorn, probably have some chips and guac, and we're just gonna trade the market some more, look at some stocks, look at things, and seeing how Netflix does after the bell. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.